Hello, I'm Helen Yancy, and I am passionate about faces. I am a portrait photographer and a portrait painter working in both traditional and digital media. I love Corel Painter because it allows me to do everything I want to do without a lot of the fuss and muss of traditional painting, even though I still like to do that as well. Today we want to talk about faces and doing skin tones in faces. So we're going to make a brief little movie here to show you some things that'll help you. First of all, I have my custom palette, which you can create easily by simply grabbing a brush up here in any one of these lovely places, categories, and variants. I will pick one. I'll pick Captured Bristle. I will hold down my Shift key and drag Captured Bristle right into my custom palette. I don't know if I'm going to use it or not, but now it's there. I can name my custom palette, which I'm not going to do right now, but I can name it by going to Window, Custom Palette, Organizer, and it'll allow me to name it. And as you can see, I have many. Up here is my clone source, which shows me how much of my clone I can see or how much I can't see. And it shows me what my source is. I have created a clone from the painted image. And I have over here, I have the retouched image with nothing painted, just retouched. And over here I have the original image with nothing done to it. So I want you to just see faces. This one is painted except for the face. Now I'm working on a clone. The first brush I'm going to select is wet acrylic. I'm going to check the size, it's pretty big, but I'm going to leave it right there right now, and I'm going to click on this little, what looks like a stamp in the color box. Click on that, and now I will have clone color. That means I can work with the color of the original image, and at this point, I don't have to worry about changing color, adding color, or anything like that. I simply want to go over the skin and get rid of the fact that it is a photograph. I don't want it to look like a photograph. I want this to look like a painting and be indeed a painting. So we'll go over all of these areas, and you see how nice it is because it's going to preserve the planes of the face, if I'm careful especially. It's going to preserve the lights and the shadows. And again, I do need to be careful. I don't want to make mush, but I do want this to be painted, and I want it to be painted pretty much everywhere. So the fact that I have retouched it already will help me, and I'm already creating brush strokes. I want brush strokes. This is a painting. It's very hard for photographers especially to not see the pores of the skin. But you guys, if you go to any museum, any gallery, any place and look at portraiture that's painted, you will not see pores of the skin. So that's what we're doing right now. We're simply getting rid of the evidence of a photograph. And you see automatically it softens any lines that there may be in the face. You can always bring them back if you want to. I don't know why we would want to, but there are times when you do. When expression is dependent on those lines, then we bring them back. But in most cases, we don't. If you notice, I have not changed the size of my brush, which is quite courageous on my part. I really need to change the size of my brush. So I'm going to use my Option or Alt key and my Command or Control key through which I can click and drag and change the size of my brush. I love that. That's been true in previous versions of Painter as well. So if you're still working with an older one, that will work. And I'm just simply continuing those areas so that I can be sure that this looks like a painting. Now the next thing I want to do, I want to identify details. It's very important to me that everything look like a painting. And in order for that to happen, I have a couple choices. I can use this detail blender to identify the details and make them look painted. And let's see, that's pretty small. If I do that, which I will do, I'm going to kick the percentage up opacity to 100 because I want this to really go into my image. I don't want to just surface paint it. I want it to dig right into those pixels. And I'm going to go over areas that I want detail preserved. That's where the likeness is. Likeness of a face is found in the upper lid line of the eye, the nostrils of the nose, and the line between the lips. You also need to be sure that you hold on to the edge of the cheek line. Those are the important lines to make sure you retain a likeness. Now I'm going to get brave here, and I'm going to go over this upper fold in the eyelid because I want this to look painted. And then I'm going to go over the eyelid line itself. And yes, it'll get heavier. It's a painting. Let it be what it is. And we're just working with a blender right now. So what we're doing is creating little brush strokes, which is real important to have it look like a painting. I even want to mess around a little bit with those catch lights, because if I were painting it for real, I would be doing that. And I am painting it for real. I get mad at people when they say it's not a real painting, and I just did it myself. Now I want to make that brush just a little smaller, and this time I'm just going to use the bracket keys to do it. And I'm going to push, just push those eyelashes out. That's all I'm doing. I'm not really painting them because this is a blender. I'm pushing those eyelashes out, pushing the pixels out. Make your life easy. You don't have to work on every single quarter inch, but you do want to have it look painted. Now let's look and see what we have. Just in that little, look at there. It looks painted, and that's what I want. Now I'm going to take, I could leave it right there except for the lips. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to use that small detail brush there too, and I'm going over that which is very important, that line between the lips. Now I'll make that brush a little bigger again and stroke up and down on the lips. And this is what will make your painting look like a painting. Those brush strokes. Don't be afraid of the brush strokes. Just make sure they're in the right place. That's the big one. Make those brush strokes be in the right place. Near the fingers, make sure you have brush strokes. The fingers are already painted, but I still want to make sure that the melody matches the refrain. I don't want to have areas that are totally photographic and areas that are painted. So you want these little marks, these little brush stroke marks. That's important. Make sure the end of the nose looks the way it's supposed to look too. Now, if I want it a little softer, I can choose, and I can go to my navigator over here. This is another wonderful thing. I'm going to bring it over here so you can see. This navigator is simply amazing. I can put it right where I want it to be. I can make it just a little bit smaller and move it around. That's the best navigator I've ever seen. Now I have everything right where I want it to be. I can move my palettes out of the way. And I'm going to choose soft charcoal. And I want my soft charcoal to be a bigger brush. And I'm going to select with my eyedropper. You can see it with my Alt or Option key. I'm going to select a light color up here. And I want my brush to be pretty good size. And I'm going to just skim over it. Now I'm not using clone color. I picked a color. And I'm going over some of this with my soft charcoal and painting with that. Just in the highlight areas. And soft charcoal really is wonderful because you can blend as you go, so you don't have to worry about blending more. I'd like to add a little bit more color to her cheeks, so I'll pick it up from her lips, and let's see if we like that. Well, I do. I like that. And I can blend it more if I choose to. Over here, I want it a little redder, so I'll just add a little bit there, a little bit of soft charcoal there. Many, many times I do work in layers. I love layers. I work in layers. Now I want my brush smaller, and if you notice, I picked a very bright color, and I pushed it lighter and brighter, and I'm going to make that highlight on the nose with my soft charcoal a little stronger. Now we have only worked for a few minutes, but we've definitely got a painted look to that face. It doesn't look like a photograph anymore, and that is what's so important. I hope you'll try it. I hope you enjoy it.